That's right. It's another late night, and time for another reach into the Just Giggle It grab bag. And tonight we're pulling out. Smell that. Wow, do I smell stuffing and cranberry sauce? What do we have here? Oh my goodness, it's a whole plethora. 10 things Bernie Sanders is thankful for. Just Giggle It sketch number 49. Are we feeling
Woo!
festive?
Oh man, Dragon, is Thanksgiving a thing that exists?
Well, more in the aftermath, but let's just pretend it does for the sake of argument, for the sake of the Thanksgiving related sketch that we have before
I'm
us.
just saying, like, I work in a retail store, Dragon, and man, it's like our store is like a winter wonderland right now. And there's like one sad singular table set up for Thanksgiving, Dragon. One single table with like a horn of plenty and a couple pumpkins maybe, and stuff of that nature. Dragon, that table, it's like I almost wish that table wasn't there, just because every time I pass it I honestly feel bad for it. It's just kind of like it's almost rubbing salt in the wound of just how little this holiday means to people anymore. Just the fact that there's this just one little thing. I don't know. Anyways, I'm sorry, Dragon. I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to make my work experience a metaphor for the entire holiday. I don't know if it's coming across.
For to speak a little bit about Thanksgiving as a concept briefly, what's kind of interesting is that I feel, since kind of the PC age has kind of dawned upon us in recent years, I think we keep pushing away further and further from kind of like the less than savory elements of Thanksgiving. The only things we have left to gravitate towards are the. Remember when there was a time we used to celebrate like the whole historical aspect of Thanksgiving? That's no longer the case, my friend. No longer the case. It's not what you used to learn in school anymore. Now it's a lot more like, okay, let's not talk about Thanksgiving. Let's talk about football. Let's talk about
Dragon. Now it's essentially just a foodie holiday. That's
exactly.
What I like to
Now it's all food and football, and the bigger thing of the three, honestly, is Black Friday. It's after Thanksgiving.
Oh
Thanksgiving.
Man.
That's kind of what Thanksgiving has become. The important thing for me is
I hate to say it, but I do have a destiny. Like I might actually go to a Black Friday thing at like 7 a.m. It'll be my first year, Dragon.
Your first year?
Yeah, my first year doing a Black Friday.
Oh yeah, I do it all. I do whatever.
Oh really?
Yeah,
I usually just buy all my stuff online, but this I'm not going to say what the retailer is, but let's just say I cannot get it online. Anyways.
Anywho, my point is, the main Thanksgiving thing for me, obviously, Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. It's kind of that one's kind of the patented. Like I could watch that dog make toast all day, man. I really could. My favorite part of that special, Snoopy, kind of shuffling the toast like cards. I love it. Anyway.
Oh God.
That whole sequence is great. I'm just saying the toast part is like it's the point being Thanksgiving.
It's just like one of those like cartoon images that's like burned into your retinas.
Yes. Anywho, so of course we were talking about 10 things Bernie Sanders is thankful for. Again, that's the best element of Thanksgiving. That's the one savory thing we can still glean from Thanksgiving, all said and done. You know what? Forget the pilgrims. That's trepidatious territory. You know what we can do though? Go around the table, say what we're thankful for. That's something kind of nice. That's like the one savory element of Thanksgiving that we do have left. It's like murdering turkeys and questionable backstories and all this.
God. Dragon, I feel like the director of the current wars should make a Thanksgiving movie.
God. Okay, no, seriously, this was directed. This was directed, written, and interesting thing. This was, I believe, this was co-directed. It was directed by not only Joshua Thomas but also the great and powerful Alex Poncio.
Get out of town.
Yeah, seriously, I believe he co-directed this one.
Nice.
Written by Joshua Thomas and presumably edited by Joshua Thomas as well.
I think that Joshua Thomas's performance in this episode, just in the sketch comedy role, is Oscar worthy.
It is quite good. I got juicy background on this, man. I got like a whole side dish of background here.
Oh, okay. By all means.
All right, so of course, this came out in 2015 for JGI, and around this time, of course, you run for basically, as the cell line will tell you, Bernie Sanders is running for president. It's 2015. Bernie Sanders is running for president, and he has, let's just say, he has a lot to be thankful for this Thanksgiving. So, of course, Joshua Thomas, as you probably gleaned from the image and from the sketch itself, Joshua Thomas, the man can do some impressions, putting it mildly. And one of those impressions, of course, is Bernie Sanders. So the origin story for the Bernie Sanders impression is quite interesting. So Joshua Thomas is doing an improv show, and kind of had I guess again I presume around 2015. He's like, you know what? Go do Bernie Sanders. He kind of goes, gets all dolled up as Bernie Sanders. And basically the whole gag was it was Bernie Sanders doing his first improv show.
Mm-hmm.
His first time doing improv, period. So that's kind of like Bernie Sanders was going on about, this, they probably just basically what he's doing here, but about doing improv for the first time, and it killed. It killed.
Oh, God.
Of course, I believe the makeup then and now was done by now for this sketch was done by Jane Powers, and she did the makeup. Famously, she did she's done the makeup on Poncio a couple times, a couple historic times, and yes, they're the ones you're thinking of, Tiki. She did the makeup on Cat Poncio. Cat lover.
Of course. What about the moon one?
I'd like to think so, but I don't know. But here's I'm saying the extensive.
I'm sorry, not the moon, the wishing star.
I was the star.
Oh, God.
No, seriously. She did the makeup for basically the really extensive Poncio job. She did one for the Cat Poncio, which is probably the most impressive.
What about then?
That's what I was about to say. Yes, Beast.
I'm sorry. I'm just guessing at all these good Poncio makeup.
It was. It did Beast, and I feel Beast kind of got her ready.
You think I like being called Beast?
Yeah, Beast got her ready for Cat Poncio, man. Cat Poncio was fantastic. Anyway, so by the way, I had some corrections from Joshua Thomas from the last episode we did. We botched it big time.
Did we? Oh, God.
No, I'm saying we have seen the people who were in that sketch. None of them were new.
Wow.
No, I shouldn't say none of them were new. Again, we had Reagan James. I mean, she was but still recently, so we've seen her before. Point being, we've seen them all before.
Oh, that's really embarrassing. I'm sorry, Josh.
All right. Anyway, I had a disclaimer there. From what we can tell from the time it was dropped onward, before doing an in-depth look of who have we seen these guys? What have we seen these guys in before? Anyway, so we had Kyle Health. Of course, we love Kyle Health. A lot of potential. That guy.
Kyle Health made a really big impression on us. So what has he done before?
So he was in the crowd shots for Harley Quinn the Joker episode 4. He was during the party scene. Remember when Joker gets the drink at the party, and the instantly has a disdain for I need a real drink. That whole run. He was the guy who started that, the construction guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah.
And the more prominent thing he was in was Disney Princess. He was in the Disney Princess meeting. I want to say he was the I believe if I'm remembering correctly, he was the prince from I think he was Snow White's prince.
I think he was Snow White's prince too. I think that fits his face. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, props. Honestly, the Snow White prince is one of the more memorable ones from that sketch. And honestly, the construction worker guy was probably one of the more memorable people at that party besides the main players. So, yeah, props to him.
And I believe, again, I'm pretty sure he was the construction guy. I'm 80% certain. My point is, remember, he had the callback where I don't even, it might have been in the second, it might have been episode 5, where Katie Mayer Garland as Carmella, where she says, I made out with a construction guy. So he got shouted out.
Oh, God. All right.
Anyway, okay, so of course, as you think you're aware of the Larry David impression, aren't you?
What? Just that Joshua Thomas does a good one, or just that?
No, the fact that Larry David on SNL famously, I don't know, maybe this inspired Joshua Thomas, I don't know, but of course, very famously on SNL, Larry David, who looks remarkably similar to Bernie Sanders, does an impression on SNL of Bernie Sanders, and I don't know if maybe it was a light bulb moment for Josh Thomas, or by sheer coincidence, around the same time they were doing that. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just saying that's the other famous impression.
I have not seen Larry Sanders' SNL stuff.
Yeah,
honestly, I've seen very, very few SNL sketches recently.
I love me some Larry David. It's kind of a pip when he shows up from time to time. It's called "Burn Your Enthusiasm." So basically, kind of did a kind of a parody of Curb Your Enthusiasm with Bernie Sanders, and it's hysterical. Anyway,
all right, that sounds fun.
All right, so let's break this down. Let's break this puppy down, man. Okay, so it's Thanksgiving.
Of course, we get Joshua Thomas as Bernie Sanders himself. And then to his left, Dragon, is a familiar face wearing a turkey hat.
Yes, wonderful Mark Sipka playing Jeff Weaver. So, by the way, I love the little centerpiece shot that starts off, and then we go to the wide table shot. We kind of set the stage here. By the way, a little headcanon here. Jeff Weaver says, "I'm thankful for my mom." He thanks his mother. He's thankful for his mom. I'd like to think that's maybe a little sly, little reference to Mark Sipka giving thanks to his mom, especially after his comedy special. That's what nice. I like. That's what I like to think it derives from. Point being, he's like.
Well, I think this is pre-comedy special.
Well, still, we don't know how many years ago that happened to him. I don't know. At least I can't recall off the top of my head how recent that event was. Was it like the year before?
Oh, no, you're right. You're right. He doesn't really give a date on it. My bad. Yeah, anyways. It's a nice sentiment, Dragon. I don't mean to throw you off. Go ahead. Oh, okay. He's gone. Okay, sorry, folks. Let me pick this up. So Bernie, he's just he's sitting around the table. He's saying just like, look at these lovely faces. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Just very enthusiastically kind of like getting into his shtick. And interestingly, instead of seeing the title card, instead of seeing the Just Giglet title card with the Google image, we see it kind of like it sort of like pops up in the left-hand upper corner of the screen and types it in as the sketch is starting. I found that interesting because it's maybe one of the few times that we actually see that instead of the full-blown search bar title card at the beginning. Folks, I apologize. I'm kind of like switching between taking notes here and then also looking to see if dragons come back. All right, so we get the title card, 10 things Bernie Sanders is thankful for. All right, so he's thankful for his close ones. I'm thankful for you all, my family, friends, supporters, my staff, and the central reps and dispatches on the other side of my life a lot. And then a really good jab here. He just goes right into Trump. Of course, the mere mention of Trump, everyone gets a little, they get a little, maybe clutch their pearls a little bit. But the Burn turns it around, man. He turns it around. He's like, I'm thankful for Donald Trump because he is such a poor human being that he makes me look really good in comparison. I'm sorry, I don't have the exact wording here down, folks, but and like I said, I very much apologize that my Bernie impression is not nearly as good as Joshua Thomas's, and obviously not in the same caliber as, Larry David's or anything. I barely even watch the news, so I don't really have that good of a reference for Bernie Sanders. Anyways, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just maybe take a minute to advertise while we wait for Dragon to come back. I'm going to. There he is. All right.
In the sketch.
Hey.
Yes.
We just got through the Trump gag. The Trump gag. We just got through it. So we're on the third thing.
Robert Zemeckis.
I'm thankful for Robert Zemeckis, Dragon. Why is he thankful for Robert Zemeckis?
He's thankful for the Back to the Future trilogy and Doc Brown, who Bernie Sanders, people say Bernie Sanders bears a resemblance to, and hopefully young voters will vote for him just because he looks like him. Right, Scott? He'd make a great president.
Okay, so let's just point out like the structure of this.
Yes.
I feel like it goes from it goes from just very humble, like thanking his peers and everything and his family. And then it goes into like political territory more and more the more the sketch goes on.
Yeah, so basically it's a series of Bernie Sanders jokes followed by along with election kind of commentaries. And again, I'm presuming around the time where Bernie Sanders' whole the whole affair is going on. Unfortunately, I'm not a political animal at all, folks. I can't give you specifics. Most of the best political stuff I can give you will be in relation to Veep, so that is not applicable at all to what we're talking about right now. My point is, unless Tony Hale works his way into the conversation, I can't help you, folks. I'm sorry. Regardless, No, my point is that around this time,
I'm
you had
thankful for Forky because he was adorable.
No, seriously, it's a series of Bernie Sanders jokes. Where basically, it's like probably stuff that's been going around at the time, like stuff we'll get to later on. Like we make fun of the memes later on with Bernie Sanders. Of course, the whole like people he looks like. Of course, people who definitely at this point before they quite made it with certain Trumpian people. Let's call them. Just generally commentary, especially towards the latter half, we get to stuff like basically where leanings were. Because from what I understand, as I can kind of tell by kind of process of elimination here, Bernie Sanders didn't get that far in the election.
Oh man, he got pretty far actually.
He got far, but I mean, he
wasn't the nominee, but he was as close as he could have possibly gotten to being the nominee.
That's what I'm saying. He got as close as he could. But I'm saying at that point he didn't end up in the final running. I guess is what I'm getting at a roundabout way. But that's the thing.
Well, if we're talking sports, he definitely got into the playoffs.
Which is
if not the semifinals, I would say he got into the semifinals if we're talking sports.
Now, far be it for me to turn things politically, which again, not a political or anything. I'm speaking purely from just an aesthetic point of view, from like just kind of like a layman's perspective, looking in on our guys here. I got to tell you, Bernie Sanders seemed kind of like a nice guy.
I have things to say about the Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton thing that I'm not going to say because it's political, and I do not want to be political on this channel. So moving on.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Anywho,
so Muslims.
Yes. All right. So yes, Muslims. Of course. Now this is based on a real thing where I guess during the campaign trail, he I saw like a few photos of this. He basically he's hugging this young Muslim girl, and he basically kind of calls it again. Basically, he's like kind of building up his bona fide even around Thanksgiving.
And this is where he's just kind of like trying to get the, it goes from like, all right, the kids love me. I'm young. I'm hip. I'm like Doc Brown, Robert Zemeckis. And then it's just like, all right, now he's just kind of like going for the, social points right here. Now he's just kind of going for the clout. It's like, she hugged me because she wanted to.
Not because I look like a shaved Santa Claus.
Oh, God. Which is, like, now that he says that, it's something that you can't unsee.
And then, of course, Muslim girl says, I'm going to change the world. And of course, Bernie says, this is great. Bernie says, we're going to change it together.
Oh, God.
And now, two things. Okay, so one, I feel like there's a little bit of sincerity in there, too. I don't know, there's kind of a nice moment. It's kind of nice.
No, you're right. You're right. It is. And that's why, like, as we go on, it kind of gets less and less sincere, or if not less sincere, at least more pointed as we go on.
Well, that's it. I like the tone of this whole. My favorite thing of the sketch, oddly enough, is the tone. I love the tone. Is very. It's still in the spirit of Thanksgiving. It's in the spirit again. Bear in mind the same. Our principles seemed a little bendy here and there. So he's really just kind of turning this little like go around, say what you're thankful for. He turned into like a whole top 10 things Bernie Sanders is thankful for. But it's still at its core though. It's still like it's framed in kind of a nice, kind of palatable way, which is kind of nice. Then we have Sagar. Of course, I got to tell you, Sagar and the next evolution of beard on the man looks fantastic. I love this. Did you feel this way at all? I love Sagar with the
I did. I did.
Going with the Doctor Strange beard look, man. He looks,
I would dare say, I would take it a step further, Dragon. I would say it's a most interesting man in the world beard.
Probably. That's probably the better example. But seriously, I get that. It's the next. Here's the next stage in the evolution of beard, folks. A little bit of gray in there, maybe a little dash salt and pepper. Right. Let's just stick with he's got like some really tasteful, some tasteful splashes of gray wisdom in the man's facial there. Anyway,
Sagar's just listening to this somewhere, and he's like, "Why do these people care so much about my facial hair?"
Well, to be fair, they did make a whole sketch of that, so I don't think we're that crazy.
Yeah, you're right.
Regardless, Sagar has this great line here where he kind of whispers to him, like, "Do you have her on standby?"
All right, Obama.
Yes, Obama. This one is priceless. I think this is one of the funniest ones here. It says, thanks to Obama for being the first African American president and getting it out of our system, so we're ready for yet another old white man in the White House.
I mean, it's true. It's true.
And I love this in the direction. I love the reaction shots here. We see Sipka.
Sipka's just like smiling and nodding.
Yep. And Sagar just kind of shrugs, like, yeah, I guess he's right, yeah. All right, so then the contributors. Let's see. So like he has 1 million contributors. Even though at my age, I could die at any moment. And of course, the little fake out gag where he kind of like he starts to keel over. And they had to look again. I'm not speaking at all in a political sense here, but just in the sense of realities. That's the thing. Like, if you've ever entertained the notion, just entertain the notion. Like, what if Bernie Sanders did win at the end of the day? What if he did win? It's like, you know what? I mean, even if it's a victory for you or not, it's like, you know what? He's in there, but people are gonna be circling the man like vultures. It's gonna be sad.
Oh man, oh,
that's
God,
the thing because I've entertained a notion.
Oh man, you just put a really depressing thought out there, Dragon.
But seriously,
Jesus.
That's the thing.
It's like as soon as Bernie gets into the White House, it's just like, okay, we're just waiting for him to die, and that's just the nature of humanity. Once you reach a certain point in age, no matter what you do, you can be the president of the United States, and people are still waiting for you to die.
Well, no, I mean,
when you get existentialist on us, Dragon.
No, seriously, I mean, the job where that is the president is the job where people are literally circling you like vultures. Because again, the old adage is the vice president's waiting for the president to keel over. That's the old adage. That's literally of all jobs. That's the thing. Like, if you know nothing about politics, you go by like a lot of people like Bernie Sanders, and you kind of see, oh, again, a guy gets support. He seems to be kind of the people's champ sort of guy in some sense of the word. Again, not knowing all the ins and outs, and you get a sense like, you know what, out of the contenders right now, not knowing anything about the competition quite yet. So, you know what, if he did win, that might be kind of nice. But even if he did win, though, it's like it might be a short victory. And gotta remember, also Bernie Sanders these days, and this came before this. Bernie's been having some health trouble lately, which again makes
he has.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's retroactive. I can't call anything against anything. They were kind of like had a little bit of foresight going on there. But that's the thing. It's like that's what I'm saying. It's like it's a sad but true gag. It's kind of what it is. It's a sad but true gag. But also, it's that JGI dial right there. It's the dial in effect of like, are we going there? Yeah, we're going there. Ripping the knob off. Turn it up, we get the reaction shots as well, or he's like brushing it off, like, oh, that Bernie, he drinks the red wine. I loved earlier when he used the red wine as like a microphone. Is this thing on?
Oh my God. And that's what I'm saying about like Joshua Thomas's performance and the writing and everything. It's just all these like little subtle touches, that just, and Dragon, I think I've followed Bernie maybe a little bit closer than you have.
You have
about the guy. But I have I know his mannerisms and everything, and the thing about Bernie is that they absolutely capture his kind of like youthful quality and how he's always kind of like trying to make light out of stuff and joke around and kind of like he does a lot of dad jokes and stuff like that. So yeah, they absolutely capture that quality of him.
Yeah, and also I love that it kind of speaks to one of Josh Thomas's his talents is especially I don't know if he's been building it ever since, but Harley Quinn and Joker vs. the Real World, the first episode, one of the great things they did as the Joker was feeling the room, basically like exploring the room and kind of like basically the idea like he could maybe make a prop work in his favor, make a set dressing work in his favor as a guy exploring the room. And that's kind of what we have here, like these little wine glass moments, All right, social media.
Oh God,
it's a good one.
I'm thankful for whoever created that hashtag Fuel the Bird. I mean, Jesus, that's catchy. I mean, people actually think that's how you spell the word.
I love that. Hashtag Fuel the Burn. That is so catchy, darn it.
It is.
That's what I'm saying. Like, honestly, look, I'll go as far as to say this. I feel out of all the other campaigns, it seems like the one had kind of most uplifting. Basically, the one had the most like kind of positive appeal to it all. It wasn't like a whole sense of like dread or a sense of like, oh man, I don't know, or like there's going to be dicey. Bernie Sanders might have been a little bit more of the same, the other old guy in the White House, but still. Would have been like, look at all this cheering, all this like, hashtag Fuel the Burn.
I'm just gonna show my cards right now. All right, I don't care.
Hey,
Bernie Sanders, he definitely has some radical ideas for sure, but Dragon, my God, out of the choices we had in that whole election, he was by far the best one.
That's what I'm saying. Again, I'm not saying it was
like not even close.
As he said himself earlier on, by comparison, being the operative word, by comparison, exactly. the man's kind of a rock star out of what we had going on, out of our contenders. He was.
So, and like I said, I didn't follow anyone's policies super closely.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I mean, just in terms of like, I know enough about each of their policies. And like I said, I think honestly, with Bernie, the problematic stuff does kind of come from his policies. That's all I'll say about
Certainly.
that.
Again, I don't doubt it.
But,
Again, everyone, certainly.
But yeah, I mean, it's better than just the other two. That's all I'll say. The other two.
Point
That's
being,
all I'll
Sanders at
address
least had a
them
little
as.
bit of he had style. Let's give him that much. He had style, man.
Yep. All right.
Anyway, so staff. Let's talk about the staff, man. He's thankful for the staff. He's thankful, and of course, the leader. Oh, I love that. This is really. This is okay. This is the
Oh my
best
God.
joke in the whole. Okay, so I don't know. If, I hope I'm getting a sense you call it this. This is the best joke in the whole thing to me. One of the best jokes where he says he thanks Jeff Weaver, the campaign manager. A little bit of a pause for making this bird. You know what is that bird? You know, like just it was just a butterball. You know, it's the Gelson's. So one, also I love that. I love the turkey hat too. I mean, we already kind of mentioned that a little bit. The turkey hat's a great choice.
It's a great choice.
I don't know why, but it is. It just looks. Here's the. He doesn't even like. I've seen a few photos of this guy and looking into it. I haven't seen all the. Basically, sometimes he doesn't. He's not sporting hair. Usually, he's not sporting hair. Sometimes he has a beard. Sometimes he doesn't. So in theory, this guy doesn't really. Outside the glasses, he doesn't. You can only look so much like this guy. I don't know if they're putting the hat on to cover up like the hair angle of it, or if it's just like it's a fun choice. It's a fun choice that works, man. I can't explain. It just works. Anyway, but I think the clever gag here, of course, well, I do know about Bernie Sanders. He didn't make the cut at the end of the day. He got far. He didn't make the cut. And I think that's kind of reflecting. I think it's why we have this campaign manager joke that he thanks him, but he's thankful for Jeff Weaver, but not that thankful.
Right.
So instead, he's not saying he never said he was thankful for Jeff Weaver, but he was thankful for his work as campaign manager. He's thankful for him making the bird. It's a sly political joke. Like top marks for JGI. That's an awesomely sly political joke, man. I respect that.
Totally.
Anyway, forefathers. Again, dicey Thanksgiving area. Forefathers.
I thank Columbus for discovering this great country. And then I love how the females in the sketch kind of just give like, what? And then one of them like rolls her eyes like, I don't know.
Oh, I should mention her before we're out. I meant to mention her earlier, but
yeah.
Erica Dashfruti, which by the way, I love her last name. Erica Dashfruti. Anyways, Erica Dashfruti. She, we've seen her a couple times. Some other things, like the one that instantly comes to mind. Again, since you mentioned it earlier, "When You Wish Upon a Star."
Oh yeah, for sure.
She's in that. She's here and there. But here's the thing: Josh was giving me some backstory that blew my mind. I was so wowed by this, and you know how much I love this show. So she's an associate producer on a show, a really funny show, a show that's JGI levels of funny. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Oh, she's an associate producer. I don't know how recent a development is, but she's an associate producer.
Wow.
And she's oh man, that's awesome. That blows my mind. And the people in JGI, they're going places, man. They are.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I could glow about Brooklyn Nine. We do not have the time. Moving on to the future president. At least the future president thankful for a segment. Okay.
All right, so he's thankful for Hillary Clinton, of course, this being November 23rd, 2015.
So
go ahead. Sorry.
No. So Hillary Clinton, of course, she's at the table, and from what I understand, I think again, you may or may not know this more than I hear, but I want to say that at the end of the day, he had to concede to her. Isn't that how it happened? Isn't that what went down?
The long and short of it, yes. I don't want to get into.
I know. I know it's a little
situation.
I know it's dicey. I can't remember all the specifics. But essentially, he did, in essence, concede. Or he was conceding at some point. He was
kind of screwed.
That's what I'm saying.
Screwed.
That's from what I understood. I remember. I don't want to get into I don't want to cite some other documentaries.
Again, I don't feel strongly politically about a lot of stuff, but that is one of those things where, I did not like the way that turned out.
Yeah, I could. Point being, at the end of the day, the point is like he kind of handed over to Hillary. I think they're maybe homaging a little bit of that. Where ultimately, at the end of the day,
they're absolutely homaging that. Yeah,
he's giving her props, but at the same time, it's like there's maybe a little bit of animosity on the surface. But I love how friendly he is about it. He's kind of like the old adage is like if you can't make it at the end, if you're desperate in the final hours of the election, like hey, let me be your VP, get me in on somewhere, please. Anyway, so let's see. So let's face it. it's the only way I'm getting in is as her vice president. We have Jackie Duncan, I believe, as Hillary Clinton. So Jackie Duncan, the Domino sketch, remember?
Yeah.
And of course, I'd now. Here's what she does so well: the laugh. Oh my God, she nailed the laugh, didn't she?
Yes.
I don't think so. Anyway, so then they're chowing down the turkey. Let's eat, let's eat turkey. Hashtag feel the bird.
Oh God.
Of course, bird spelled B-E-A-D. It's just sorry, B-E-R-D. Sorry. And then we had a little tag gag with Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. And Hillary Clinton's doing her bobblehead thing.
Yeah.
That's about it. All right. So, final thoughts.
Right. I mean, final thoughts. Like, this is like, it's not the most ambitious thing JGI has ever done by a long stretch, but I do think there's, quite a bit of tasteful political satire in this one, and tasteful political satire is not easy to do. So yeah, I give him props for that. Also, we have a comment from the man himself. Let's pull it up. Hey boys, been working around the clock, hoping to drop episode 6 tomorrow. Fingers crossed. Cannot wait to see you all.
Oh, happy day! Yes.
Oh my God. Okay. Woo. Well, that kind of switches up our plans a little bit, Josh. But all right.
It's a Thanksgiving miracle.
Oh man. All right. So yeah, we got that. All right. With that in mind, okay. Wow. Yeah. Sorry, folks. I honestly feel like I've been a little bit flustered this podcast just because I don't like to get political, and this is one of those things. Like, I don't feel strongly about politics a lot of the time, but this is one of those things that I do feel strongly about. So I feel like I've been tiptoeing my way around this conversation. I apologize if I've been kind of stiff or awkward because of that. Anyways, final thoughts, Dragon.
For me, keep it simple. It's a little seasonal parody. Look, is it on the nose? Maybe, but again, it's more of a showcase piece. And again, there's some really great slide jokes in there. Again, like I mentioned earlier with the whole Jeff Weaver thing. It's it's short and simple, it's sweet, and it's a little perfect little kind of appetizer for Thanksgiving. I call it. It's really nice. Nice, simple.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Nice, simple. Maybe a tad bit dated if you're looking at it now, but who cares?
I mean, I just think the premise is just like, okay, we're just going to take Thanksgiving. We're going to take Bernie Sanders, just mix them together. We need more Thanksgiving media. And that's something that I am thankful for with this sketch. Because, man, there's not enough Thanksgiving media out there. So, yeah, with that in mind, everyone, thanks so much. Have a happy Thanksgiving. And my God, Dragon will have to kind of formulate a strategy for when exactly to cover episode 6, but that'll be a conversation we'll have off air, of course. Anyways, Dragon, go ahead and take them out.
Well, folks, that does it for this week. Until the next exciting installment, next exciting reach into that big old JGI grab bag.
I mean, Jesus, it's so catchy.